Our Story Productions presents Martin County on TV, spotlighting the organizations, businesses, and citizens who are making a difference in our community today. And with interviews and stories done by local television shows over the last 25 years, here you're sure to learn more about the county we call home. Get ready, for this is Martin County on TV.
Hello everybody, welcome to Martin County on TV. I am Blake Potthoff, the Executive Director of the Fairmont Opera House here in lovely Fairmont, and I am so excited to be here as your guest host today. Now today I'm with my new friend, Mr. Alex Young Williams, and now Alex, usually we'd shake hands. But right now, we're in 2020, this year of all sorts of unknown. So I won't shake hands. We won't even do the fist bump or elbow bump like we're supposed to. But we are distanced. So we're going to make sure that we're staying far enough away that we don't infect one another with coronavirus. So, but all of that aside, you know what? Dang it, I'm happy to be here with you, and we're really looking forward to learn more about you. I've learned a lot about you already, and so excited to tell everybody else about all the great things that you're going to accomplish here in your time in Fairmont. So welcome, Alex. Great to see you.
Great. Yeah. Thank you, Blake. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, let's dive right into it. So how did you get here to Fairmont? I mean, you're not from here, right? You didn't grow up here?
No.
So where'd you grow up? How'd you get here? All of that really fun, exciting stuff about you.
Yeah, of course. So I grew up in Arlington, Virginia. It's a suburb of Washington, D.C. Spent the first 18 years of my life up there, and I decided I needed a kind of a change of pace after that, so I went up to the cities for undergrad. I went up to McAllister College, majored in international studies there, and afterwards I just felt like I had started to put down roots in the state of Minnesota as a whole, and wanted to stick around in the area. And so I was reached out to by my current job, my current boss, way back last November, and long story short, here I am in Fairmont. But yeah, it was a long road to get here for sure.
Yeah. So what program are you here for, right? Because you say you were in the Twin Cities, and so then how did you get to Fairmont? What's the path that got you here to Fairmont?
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I was reached out to by the executive director of a group called Lead from Minnesota. They are my current employer. They're based out of Waseca, Minnesota, just an hour east of here. And the email said, we're looking for people who want to do public service in either their hometown or home state communities, and would you be interested in applying for this 2-year public fellowship? And I said, well, that sounds pretty interesting. I don't have anything going on. I didn't have any post-grad plans at that time, and so I just started the application process and ended up being accepted to the fellowship. And the reason I'm here in Fairmont is because a couple of folks, especially Steve Hawkins over at Hawkins Chevrolet and his group 1590, Project 1590, they wrote down a project scope. They caught wind of the program, and they found the funding to get me here. So here I am.
Excellent. So you mentioned 1590. Now, do you work directly with that group, exclusively with that group, or do you work with others in the community as well?
Well, actually, since I'm being funded through Lead from Minnesota, and they are funding me through AmeriCorps, and they're also funding me through a grant from the Schmeckley Foundation. Okay. So I'm not necessarily funded through 1590, and I'm willing to do work with whoever wants to work with me. I've been working with the city a little bit on downtown revitalization. I've been working a little bit with 1590 on things, and maybe starting to work with the Opera House on a few things as well. Hint, hint. But I'm really open to any kind of ideas, or even individual business owners downtown having ideas. And I would encourage everybody out there, if you have ideas about how to improve Fairmont, or if you have criticisms of Fairmont as well, I'd like to hear whatever you have to say or whatever you think about the Fairmont community, because that helps me kind of build a better picture or vision of what Fairmont is right now, and that will help me in turn try to come up with a better solution to whatever issue, whatever problems are out there.
Yeah, what we kind of talked about too, that not everything is perfect. We know that there's opportunities for improvement and growth, and you can't enjoy a sunny day without some rainy days. So there are negative things that people can talk about, but I do really appreciate that you're willing to field that as well, because it's all part of the picture and how we can move forward as a community. Some of those things we do have to discuss. They might be negative or sometimes painful, but we need to talk about those so that we can get those out of the way work through them as a community, and then continue to prosper forward. So I appreciate you being open to the negative as well. It's very important for conversation.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, let's be honest, I'm here because the Fairmont community has identified some big challenges for us to work through. I'm not here just to, work on some of the, to kind of say, oh, there aren't any problems here, or there aren't any issues in the community. I'm here to work on those issues. And so I'm very open to, hearing the negative side. And I've already heard a lot of negative things here. And it's really helpful to me to kind of, again, build a better picture of the community.
What kind of resources can you bring to our community?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I should clarify too that Lead for America is kind of the umbrella of the entire organization.
Okay.
So that's what kind of came first a couple of years ago, and Lead for Minnesota started because one of the leaders of Lead for America was from Minnesota and wanted to start a state affiliate of it. So
Gotcha.
that's why Lead for Minnesota exists, and that's the kind of structure of the organization. Speaking of the resources that Lead for Minnesota can provide to a place like Fairmont, we've had a couple of trainings, both in August and again this past October. They're quarterly trainings, and those connect all of us fellows. There are 20 or 21 of us in the entire state, with groups like the Bush Foundation, the McKnight Foundation, the Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation, organizations that would be interested in signing on to projects that were already ongoing in the Fairmont community. And this includes also groups at the University of Minnesota, especially the extension program. So I've been reaching out to a couple of those professors and just starting to build relationships with those folks in case there are projects that I see happening in Fairmont that could use more funding or more resources to bring here.
Excellent. So what are some of those projects? I know you and I work on some downtown things together and some bigger ideas about the community. So what are some of the projects that you're focusing on and working on right now, and how do you see that scope of work growing over your time here? Yeah,
so I'm really happy with the work that the city is doing on the downtown revitalization part of it. And for my project scope, that's the main focus, is downtown revitalization. And the word revitalization means a lot to, and a lot of different things to different folks. But I really like what the city has done. They've put together a sort of task force to facilitate the process, and there are a couple of public meetings coming up with both building owners downtown as well as the wider community of Fairmont as a whole. So I'm interested to see kind of what ideas come out of that. I think downtown there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of people that are really invested in the area, and there's a lot of potential for growth. And so whatever that kind of looks like moving forward, I particularly one project that I'd like to push a little bit is there's a lot up at Downtown Plaza and 4th Street that's vacant at the moment. There are a few houses there, but it's empty land. And the idea, there was a design charrette done a couple of years ago by the University of Minnesota, and they laid out a plan for a combination of housing, retail, and entertainment, and that kind of area. And so that's kind of another big picture plan that could stretch years into the future. We started a little bit with working with a professor from the University of Minnesota School of Architecture and Design, and what he wants to do is look at that particular plot of land as a place where we can put in affordable senior housing and start to address a little bit of the housing crisis that's occurring here in Fairmont, and to be honest, throughout the country.
Well, my goodness, sounds like you got your time full of all sorts of different things, and they're all really, really exciting things. The one thing that I really, really love about what you just said, though, is all of the stuff that's going on downtown. Now, there's a lot of businesses downtown, and there's a lot of really passionate and driven people who work downtown and who own businesses downtown, and there's so much good here. Did you notice? I noticed it from living here, but is that one of the things that you've noticed? And you kind of spoke to it, but what's your sense and feeling of downtown?
I think it definitely is a vital place for the Fairmont community as a whole, and I think people that maybe say, oh, there's nothing downtown. It's a shell of what it once was. I invite them to come downtown and say, well, look at all the businesses that are here and the people that have been here for some of them for decades. Continuing to have businesses here and stay in the area. And they do it, out of a love for the Fairmont community as a whole. So, I invite those people to come down and walk down downtown Plaza and see, all of the things that Fairmont has to offer downtown.
Yeah.
And there's a lot, there's definitely room for growth and there's a lot of potential, but, what we have right now, we should be proud of.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm a little biased, obviously, because the Opera House is downtown, but it's a great place to have a business and to run a business, and there's really a fellowship between the business owners and people who work and live downtown. It's really a really great spot to be.
The first time that I drove downtown Plaza, I was like, wow, look at all these great businesses that are here. This seems to be the spot. This is where people should come. And I think what sometimes happens is if you've lived here for long enough, it ceases to be kind of a novelty, and you kind of get used to what's there, and maybe you start to notice what's not there. And it's important to notice those things too, but also remember that these things. Remember the first time that you came downtown Plaza and saw all these businesses here, and remember what that felt like. And that's part of what attracts people to the area too is their downtown area. So. I really have enjoyed my time here. I even have an apartment downtown, so I'm a bit biased as well. But I really think there's a lot of potential, and there's already a lot of great things as well.
Yeah. Now I want to ask about Fairmont as a whole, because downtown is just a piece of our community. What do you think of Fairmont as a whole?
The lakes are one of the first things that I noticed. I've never lived in a community with lakes or with near water or anything like that, and. It was just, the first couple of weeks I spent, a lot of time around the lakes, walking some of the trails. And I really enjoyed that kind of aspect of it too. I think another thing about Fairmont that I really enjoy is talking to people that are really invested in the community. For my work, I've been doing a lot of community outreach, meeting with key stakeholders and community members, and almost all of them have had really positive things to say about Fairmont, regardless of whether they're in the city government or they work for a nonprofit or they're a business owner. They are all invested in wanting to see Fairmont succeed and kind of building a sort of positive vision for Fairmont's future. And so that's really what inspires me to keep going in this work, is because there's so much energy and vitality here. Among the people that are they're making a living out here. So I'm really looking forward to kind of just working with those folks moving forward and maybe trying to bring a lot of those ideas that these people have into more of a concrete reality or an action plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a beautiful community, and especially around fall, you get to drive around, see the fall colors around the lakes. That's one of my favorite things that my wife and I would go do and check out the fall colors, and it is really just a really great town. It's a great place to live and to work and to shop too. We talked about businesses. Last question, very, very important. There's going to be a bunch of people who are watching this. We're going to come knocking down your door to talk to you because they're really excited about all the good stuff you're talking about. How can we get a hold of you?
Oh, sure. You can reach out to me, give me a call, or send me an email.
Perfect. Well, it's been wonderful to talk to you, Alex. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited about you being here in Fairmont, and I'm excited to be part of and observe and watch and help out however I can. I hope there's a bunch of people out there who are also willing to help out. We can really do a lot of really good things in this community, and I'm very excited to work with you on several of those. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time, and we'll see you out in the community, and we'll see all of you out in the community as well.